there, I'm Tricia Helfer, and you're listening to Chris Gordon at hellblazer.biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a delectably dishy good night, listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. Tell me, what is it you desire most? Well, I may be able to help you there with a chat with one of the stars of Lucifer Season 2. This lady made an immediate and one could say spine-chillingly good impact to our screens recently. She was once number 6, but is now known as the devilish Charlotte, mother to the deliciously dark and mischievous Lucifer, and his angelic brother Amenadiel. My dear ladies, gentlemen, and demons of all ages, I proudly bring to you Miss Tricia Helfer. Good afternoon for you, Tricia, I believe it is. 3 p.m., 20 past 3?
20 past 2 at this point, yes.
My timing's out yet again. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate you taking the time out to join me today anyway. It really is very much appreciative from me and everyone who listens. I will go over some questions that I've been sent in. I've got a couple from myself, but I've cut most of the ones from me, just so I can get everyone else's in. See, I'm generous and fair.
Probably some duplicates anyway.
Yeah, there might be. I think there might be some very similar ones. I'm trying to sort of weed them out as best I can. Okay, so the first one comes from me is, how does it feel to be playing the mother of the devil?
I will say I'm having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also the mother of angels.
True.
So that has to be kept in mind, because I know everybody thought, oh, the mother of the devil, she's just going to be evil, pure evil. But, Lucifer was an angel, and I've got many other children, angels. And so yep. I used to live in heaven and be the mother of angels and of creation. So, there's a good side to her as well.
Yeah, there is definitely. In fact, I was going to say, the whole thing with Lucifer as well is one of the themes that it seems to be coming across is there does seem to be a good side to himself as well. But that's a whole another hour or 2 hours of philosophical talk, I think, because that's one of the things I've had quite a few chats with people about how the philosophical side of the whole of Lucifer, now that he's fallen, obviously he's on Earth, he's left. You can see there's a humanity taking him over, and I think that's part of the
it really is, and it's when you see his vulnerability and him getting hurt, it's jarring.
It is. It's I think that's one of the whole draws of the whole, apart from obviously the acting and the writing, it's that the whole draw of it is seeing and people being unbelieving that they're actually interacting and feeling sorry for Lucifer and Satan.
Yes, exactly.
Rooting for him. Okay, moving on. A question from Wolf is, what's it like to take on such an unconventional role like the mother of Lucifer, which we just talked about, mother of Lucifer, Samael, Amenadiel? Do you think there'll be an origin story or episode for Charlotte somewhere?
I don't know. We certainly do get to know a little bit more about Charlotte as we go along, but in the beginning, obviously, Charlotte is definitely a fish out of water. She has a huge dislike for humanity, and the fact that she's to be able to be with her son, she has to be in human form, mm-hmm. is to her, disliking. But at the same time, she's maternal. She loves her son. She loves her children, and she wants to be with her children, not just her 2 sons down in Los Angeles. And
yeah.
So it's, we will get to see more, certainly as we move along. The first few episodes, and definitely a fish out of water, and then into 5 and 6, we start to see, and 7 and 8 in there, we start to see that she's settling in. She's learning how to live her life. You'll see in the episode tonight, mm-hmm. that Lucifer decides on her punishment, and he decides to send her, instead of sending her back to hell, he decides to send her to live the life of Charlotte Richards, which is the body that she took over.
Okay.
So the next few episodes after that, are Mom, again, a fish out of water, trying to discover how to cook and clean and deal with human children and a husband and the Charlotte Richards was a high-powered defense attorney and learn how to do this job and stuff. So you don't get to know too much origin story about Mom for the first part of the season because she's really just trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And after that, once she settles in, and with the introduction of another son in episode 5, played by the wonderful Michael Imperioli, there's something that takes a very dark turn. And so then after that, that's when you start to see once Mom is settled in, and once there's a family, issue that has arisen, another family issue that has arisen, then you start to see more of Mom's plans start to form. And and so throughout 8, 9, 10, 11, that's where we're currently filming episode 10. That's when you really start to see more of Mom's plan and see more of her manipulative, what maybe people would call her evil side. But going into it, it's really we don't obviously, yes, I'm playing this supreme goddess, the celestial being, but when we strip, we like to strip all that away on set, and really, when I'm talking to Lucifer, I'm not talking to the devil, I'm talking to my son.
Yeah.
And when the boys are talking to each other, so we really do strip it all away and relate it to, just any normal dysfunctional family. We may have, extreme circumstances surrounding us, but if you play into that too much, then it just becomes fantasy and it just becomes unrelatable. So I think bringing it back to what you first said about Lucifer and starting to see some other sides of Lucifer and feeling for him. If we didn't do that, if we just kept up in the celestial realm, then you'd miss out on that. So it really is, at the end of the day, a dysfunctional family drama. We just happen to be celestial beings.
That's an awesome answer. It's definitely very true. Right, that's again, it's the whole draw of the show. It's just so relatable because you just and especially with your character coming in season 2, in the episodes that I've obviously watched 1 and 2 so far, and I will be watching 3. Don't worry, just waiting for it tonight. And seeing the interaction already, the estranged mother coming back to visit the son and his reactions to it, it's just brilliant. Fantastic TV to watch. So Tony 2016, apologies for the names, it's some of the Twitter handles coming through. Do you think Charlotte, in any of the upcoming episodes that we've maybe talked about so far, will be able to sense her son having a human romantic feelings for Chloe?
That is, in episode 2, Mum quietly notes that Lucifer has, there's something with Chloe, but it's doesn't really take hold. She doesn't really understand it. And I think mostly she is completely surprised by it when she does find out. She, there's not too much, Chloe and Mum don't really relate to each other at all in the first few episodes. And so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. She doesn't really, Mom's kind of more interested in why is he doing this job? Like, she doesn't understand. And it isn't until kind of midway through, like in the, some heavy stuff happens in 5 and 6, and then it's kind of 7, 8, where Mom starts to realize, because she can't understand why Lucifer doesn't want to go home with her and implement a deal. And so then she starts having to find out why he doesn't want to go home, and that's when she starts realizing that it's Chloe that he's attached to and doesn't want to leave. So that's definitely going to throw a wrench in the plan, so to speak, and it's Mom is going to have to figure out how to deal with this. So it will come into play, but not kind of around episode 8.
All right, okay then. That'd be a nice, interesting development to see, because mums always have that intuition with their sons, and the females in their lives, as I can well testify from mine, and getting involved quite throughout my life.
She just hasn't been around Chloe much because she's been in the first she's been in Lux, and she just hasn't really been around Chloe, so she hasn't seen it per se. But once she finds out, once she sees it, once she gets settled in Charlotte Richards' life and starts to kind of settle in a little bit more, then she's more aware and can see what's happening.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say, I think everyone can probably see, apart from him himself, that what's going on with that. So it will be a really interesting take to see how Charlotte herself will act and sort of develop that sort of, like you just talked about, that role of how to deal with her son falling in love when he shouldn't really be falling in love.
Right.
In that respect, cool. Okay, so Lucifans, which is at Lucifans Group 1 on Twitter, is asking, what's the most challenging part of the role of Charlotte?
I think in the beginning the most challenging role was just settling in and finding the right tone, because obviously the show has a lot of humor to it, but there's also a lot of heart, and I didn't want to make her too big, too fish out of water. It's Mom's not trying to be funny. It's more the situational comedy that Mom is put in. So to me, the biggest challenge was finding the right tone, making sure there was the comedy there, but that you also felt that she did, that she does love her sons, and she ultimately thinks what she's doing is right. So it's finding the balance, and I think that's anytime, not just with this show, or this character, but with any show, you want to, every show has its own tone.
Yeah.
Even if it's the umpteenth Law and Order, it has the Law and Order tone.
Yeah.
But Lucifer, especially because, it definitely has a unique tone, blending the comedy and the drama and the dysfunctional family issues and demons and, devil and angels and things. So you want to make sure you get it right. And then, so because Mom is also like the supreme goddess, yes, I think it's exaggerated of making sure I find the right tone.
Okay, excellent. In the contrast to that, you've just mentioned as well is obviously the fact that there is the comedy aspect in the show as well, which is so cleverly done and just very, very subtle, which is brilliant. I've had the pleasure of speaking to Leslie Ann and DB during season 1, and they mentioned it as well. What's the funniest type things you've had off set so far? There's got to be, you guys must have a lot of fun, because it looks like it must be a lot of fun to make. Hard work, obviously, but I think, do you enjoy it? Do you have the offsets, that kind of things? Any sort of funny moments?
Absolutely. They're the cast and crew really all get along with each other very well. So, it's certainly not a set where you show up and you sit in your trailer the whole time and you only talk to each other for you're reciting your lines. We're all together. We hang out together off, on weekends and things when we're in town. And, so that breeds a nice, atmosphere to try and play and try and do things that you might not necessarily feel will work, but it's good to try them. And so it's we're not pranksters, so there's nobody on set that's really set out to saran wrap somebody else's toilet or anything like that. And there won't be cushions on set and things, but we certainly we joke around a lot, and if Tom rips his pants for the 10th time, it gets made fun of, or some trips, of course, they're going to get laughed at, but it's more just being there, enjoying each other's company in between takes, and we laugh and we make jokes and things, but there's nobody that's a real prankster.
All right, okay. It sounds a lot of fun, though. It's a nice sort of family atmosphere when you can have that, the cast and crew just have that relationship and that bond when you're filming, I think, and it shines through in the actual end product as well for us guys to watch.
Yeah, we're always we're a huggy group too. We're always we greet each other with hugs in the morning, and when we leave, it's hugs, and so it's definitely a warm work environment.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, Livewire, at Livewire from Twitter. Are you drawn to the roles that look at humanity from the outside, RE6 and Charlotte?
I mean, I was drawn to those roles for many reasons, and I guess looking at humanity from the outside, yes, that is one way to put it. But I'm kind of more just drawn. It's not like I'm drawn to a certain genre or a certain thing. As an actor, I think one of the most fun aspects of it is getting to play all different type of roles. I went from playing number 6, which was an incredible character to get to play, to playing an undercover FBI agent in Dark Blue, and to a lawyer in The Firm, kind of a ruthless lawyer, to a Texas Ranger in Killer Women, and then I'm playing God's ex-wife in Lucifer. That's what's fun for me, is to get to play all different types of things. So I certainly wouldn't want to just do one type of role. These two, yes, 6 and Mom certainly do have some parallels, but they're also vastly different characters. 6 was much more precise and focused and, obviously very intelligent, but was fighting for a cause. Mom is, and fighting in a war, and Mom is much more, she feels she's above others, so it's not like two races fighting against, Cylons and humans. She looks at humanity as insects, like they mean nothing to her. And she definitely feels above them. So there's more. She's a little more flippant. She's also very intelligent, but there's less. And she's also very calculating. But she's more loving, and there's less of a drive and focus for her in terms of a precise way. She's much more all about her instead of all about the cause. 6 is about the cause, and Mom is all about her and her family.
Okay, I can see those the differences there, and also the similarity. That's great. I'm actually going to be leading on to my final question now. I've just got one person didn't have a question; she couldn't think of one. So Lauren just wanted to pass on to say hello to you and let you know that she thinks you're an amazing actress.
Oh, that's very kind.
So the final thing is there anything that you'd just like to say to your fans and the many Lucifer fans out there, just in summing up?
I would just say thank you for being so welcoming to me coming in, and also to Amy Garcia coming in to play Ella Lopez, who does an amazing job of making a medical examiner seem relatable. A lot of times medical examiners are either really boring or they're made to be really extreme and quirky, and she is just relatable and fun and smart, and so I think just being welcoming to the two new characters coming in, and being open to our storylines, and both of us feel really, really welcomed by not only the cast and crew but also by the fans.
Thank you so much for your time, Tricia, and thank you to the people in Warner Brothers Worldwide TV publicity team for making this happen. Really appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed the show, and thank you to all those who sent in questions. I hope you were happy with the answers. I appreciate all your support as always. Well, this has been Chris Gordon on Hellblazer.biz, talking to Tricia Helfer of Lucifer.